Hi, today we are going to present about breastfeeding. And at the end of our presentation, we should be able to know the definition of breastfeeding, the physiological of lactation, the stages of breast milk, techniques of breastfeeding, describe the advantages and disadvantages of breastfeeding, the definition of artificial breastfeeding, and we should be able to know the methods of breastfeeding. What is breastfeeding? Breastfeeding is also called nursing, and breastfeeding is a process of feeding a mother's breast milk to her infant, either directly from the breast or by expressing or pumping out the milk from the breast and bottle feeding it to the baby. Meaning, breastfeeding is a process by which a mother gives her breast milk to her infant that serves as the baby's first food where she or he can get nutrients and vitamins to be able to help the baby to grow. And breastfeeding isn't just about directly putting the breast into the mouth of the baby, but you can use this to squeeze the breast milk and put it into this and feed it to the baby. And that process is called bottle feeding. A study tells that breastfeeding lowers a baby's risk of certain diseases and helps build a strong immune system. Breastfed children perform better on intelligence tests, are less likely to be overweight or obese, and less prone to diabetes later in life. Women or mothers who breastfeed also have a reduced risk of breast and ovarian cancer. Hi, today we are going to present about breastfeeding. And at the end of our presentation, we should be able to know the definition of breastfeeding, the physiological of lactation, the stages of breast milk, techniques of breastfeeding, describe the advantages and disadvantages of breastfeeding, the definition of artificial breastfeeding, and we should be able to know the methods of breastfeeding. Women or mothers who breastfeed also have a reduced risk of breast and ovarian cancers.
Hi, my name is Sangayab Darlene Ivy, and my report is physiological lactation. Physiological lactation is the development includes pregnancy lactation. The changes of your body, especially your breast. It may become firm, larger, warm as your body adjusts to making milk. There are 4 stages of physiological lactation. Number 1 is mammogenesis, the development or formation of the mammary gland on the mother. Number 2 is lactogenesis. It is the process of milk production in the mammary gland. Number 3, galactokinesis. Galacto typically relates to milk and kinesis means movement. So galactokinesis is the movement of milk within the mammary gland. Number 4, galactopoiesis. It is the maintenance and stimulation of ongoing milk production in the mammary glands. It involves various hormonal physiological processes that help sustain the production of milk, ensuring the continuous supply to meet the demand of the baby.
There are 5 methods of breastfeeding. First is the cradle position. Cradle position is the most common position that you see in the picture, where the baby lies across the mother's lap. The second position is a football hold, a side position that keeps the baby a little more upright so that you're able to see your baby as sucking, but it also helps keep away the baby to your abdomen, which you may have some discomfort right after a delivery. Third is the side lying position. Once your baby getting older and you feel both comfortable and that is the position you must do. The fourth position is the cross-cradle position. The position is very good for the first couple of days because your hand supporting not only the baby's head but also support your breast. You're able to take your baby to the right position to your breast. Last but not the least, laid back position is a very good for a mom who has a very fast letdown or oversupply of milk because it helps prevent work with gravity that make milk flow faster to bring the baby above you.
3 stages of breast milk. Number 1 is colostrum. It is the first of milk produced by the mammary gland to humans and other animals immediately following delivery of the newborn. It may be called beasting when referring to the first milk of a cow or similar animals. Most species will begin to generate colostrum just prior to giving birth. The main classes of antibodies present within colostrum are IgG, IgM, and IgA. If we say IgG, it is a colostrum most predominant antibody, functions to identify and demolish pathogen found within the bloodstream as well as other parts of the body. And if we say IgM, recognize and destroy bacteria slowly entering the blood. And last, IgA acts by fastening to membranes that line various organs such as the intestine and prevent pathogen from the attaching and causing disease. Transitional milk comes when mature breast milk gradually replaces colostrum. He will make transitional milk from 2 to 5 days after delivery until up to 2 weeks after delivery. You may notice that your breast milk color. Some example of transitional milk is a high-protein breast milk that a woman produced after 3 to 6 days after her baby is born. Matured milk is produced in as great a value as transitional milk, but this is a thinner and more water or even bluish. Sometimes, it's described as looking like skim milk when it is first secreted until the fat is released later in the feeding and it becomes more creamy. Basic techniques of breastfeeding. Number 1 says we need to support the neck of the baby if we carry them. Number 2, we need to let the baby what they want to do to their parents' breast for them to launch themselves. Number 3, don't train the baby to always face the parent's chest so that it doesn't get used to always pumping. And number 4, let the baby try to do his or her strong for him or her
the act
to
of
get
breastfeeding
milk
involves
to the parents.
intimate moments
Some
of
examples
nurturing and comfort,
of basic
creating a
techniques
strong
of breast
emotional
feeding.
connection. In continuation, I am going to discuss the mother's presence breastfeeding and nourishment. First one, the breastfeeding has preventive power. The shared breastfeeding is considered beneficial for both the emotional bonds and between them due to its preventive powers. It provides infants with essential nutrients, antibodies, and enzymes that support their immune system, reducing the risk of infections and diseases. Additionally, breastfeeding is linked to lower rates of certain illnesses. The second one, it creates a special bond. Breastfeeding fosters a special bond between a mother and her infants through both physical and emotional connections. Physically, the close contact and skin-to-skin contact during breastfeeding release oxytocin, often referred to as the love hormone. The hormone contributes to feelings of bonding and affection between the mother and the baby. The third one is breast milk is easy on baby's tummy.
Breast milk is generally considered easier on baby's stomach compared to formula. Breast milk is easily digestible and contains proteins that are more gentle on an infant's developing digestive system. It also contains enzymes that aid in digestion. Furthermore, breast milk composition adjusts to the baby's nutritional needs as they grow, providing an optimal balance of nutrients. The fourth advantage is breastfeeding offers numerous health benefits for both mothers and the baby. For mothers, breastfeeding helps with postpartum recovery by promoting uterine contractions, reducing bleeding, and aiding in weight loss. It also lowers the risk of breast and ovarian cancers, as well as the type 2 diabetes. For infants, breastfeeding provides essential nutrients, antibodies, and enzymes that support their immune system, reducing the risk of infections and diseases. Breast milk is easily digestible and adapts to the changing needs of the growing baby. The last advantage of breastfeeding is breastfeeding saves you money. Breastfeeding can be cost-effective option for infant feeding. Unlike the formula feeding, breast milk is natural and free source of nutrients. There are no expenses associated with purchasing formula, bottles, or sterilizing equipment. This can lead to significant cost savings over the course of an infant's first year. Moreover, breastfeeding may contribute to potential savings in healthcare costs. Breastfed babies often experience fewer illnesses, leading to fewer medical expenses for doctors, visits, and medication.
Disadvantage of breastfeeding. First, breastfeeding can be painful. Usually when babies are latched on wrong, it can be hurt or feel like a pinch each time your baby sucks. Number 2, stressful if you are modest. For example, if your baby is crying and you are modest, you don't know what to do to stop your baby to cry. It's really stressful. Number 3, it can be difficult at the beginning. Yes, of course, it's really difficult at the beginning, especially when you are first timer to breastfeed a baby. Number 4, it requires healthy lifestyle choice. So the mother need to keep herself healthy for the baby. Number 5, you have less freedom, especially when you breastfeed. As a mother, you are always on call, and your breasts need to be available for every feeding, day and night. Number 6, your partner cannot feed the baby. Yes, if your baby is an infant, it's truly your partner don't know how to feed the baby, and it's your duty as a mother to feed.
Hi, I am Judea Galisan and I'll be presenting to you the anatomy of breast. Anatomy of breast. The breast is primarily composed of glandular tissue, adipose tissue, and connective tissue. It contains lobes, lobules, milk ducts, and blood vessels. Glandular tissue is responsible for milk production while the ducts carry the milk to the nipple. So for furthermore explanation, the breast is made up of few different types of tissue. First, we have the glandular tissue, which is responsible for producing milk. Then the adipose tissue, which is basically fat that helps give the breast its shape and size. Lastly, we have the connective tissue, which holds everything together. Now, within the breast, there are some important structures. We have the lobes, which are the sections of the breast, and within these lobes, we have smaller structures called lobules. It's in these lobules that the milk is actually produced. To get the milk from the lobules To the nipple, we have the milk ducts. These ducts act like tiny pipelines carrying the milk towards the nipple, ready for breastfeeding. And lastly, we must not forget about the blood vessels. They're responsible for supplying the breast tissue with oxygen and nutrients, keeping everything healthy and functioning properly. So, all in all, the breast is made up of glandular tissue for milk production, adipose tissue for shape, and connective tissue for support. It also contains lobes, lobules, milk ducts, and blood vessels. Each of these parts plays an important role in breastfeeding and maintaining breast health. As you can see on this figure that is presented, the components or parts of the anatomy of breast. So let's discuss them one by one. And let's start with the chest wall. Chest wall is the bony structure that provides support and protection to the breast. Number 2, ribs. Ribs are curved bones that form the framework of the chest wall, offering structural support and protection to the internal organs, including the breast. Number 3, supraclavicular lymph nodes. These lymph nodes are located just above the collarbone and are responsible for draining lymph fluid from the upper part of the breast and surrounding areas. Number 4, internal mammary lymph nodes. These lymph nodes are situated along the internal mammary artery and assist in draining lymph fluid from the middle and inner parts of the breast. 5, axillary lymph nodes. These lymph nodes are located in the armpit or axillary region and play a crucial role in filtering and draining lymph fluid from the breast and surrounding areas. 6, lobules. As discussed earlier, lobules are glandular structures within the breast that produce milk during lactation. 7, areola. The areola is a circular pigmented area surrounding the nipple. 8, the nipple. We all know what nipple is. Nipple is the raised structure on the breast that contains opening for milk to be released during breastfeeding. 9, the duct. Duct is the tiny tubes that carry milk from the lobules to the nipple. I discussed it earlier. 10, adipose tissue. We know the adipose tissue, I discussed it also earlier. This is the fat that provides support for the breast. The pectoral muscles. The pectoral muscles situated beneath the breast aid in movement and provide additional support. Lastly, the skin. Skin covers and protects the underlying structures of the breast, including the lobules, ducts, and adipose tissue.
Artificial breastfeeding is a formula powder that mixed with cold boiled water and offered to the baby in a bottle. You can also buy ready-to-drink formula. Infant formula feeding supports baby's growth during the first 6 months. Once they reach 6 months, they can start eating solids as well.